Hello, hello. I am here. You are not yet here, actually. Uh, Fascinating. I'm putting away some clean dishes, so I will just keep doing that and chit-chatting here while there's some filtering in yet to be done. I had considered making today a true April Fool thing where I pretend that I've been doing like it was going to be like part 47 of our Sonic the Hedgehog retrospective, um, in which then I play the new game, which isn't a retrospective at all because it just came out. If you haven't been paying attention, there's a new Sonic the Hedgehog game that came out yesterday, and people are saying already that it's actually very good. I'm not a huge Sonic fan, but boy, it seems like it's just crazy enough to be worth looking into. Hi, welcome in. You are correct. These are a variety of mango. They are not your standard mango, though. But do you recognize this thing? I'm putting some dishes away. I'm here chit-chatting while I put some dishes away. Talk about scrapped plans. I still actually want to try playing that the new Sonic game. That is not a mango. You might actually recognize this one. This one's been on before, and we had a hard time with it. Putting some stuff away, stuff away, stuff away. Because I know you were here the last time I had this particular fruit, and we had a little bit of a struggle with it. And I ended up throwing it away that time because I couldn't figure out how to salvage it. I have since gone back and read about it, and I took a stab and picked up another one just to see if I can, in fact, salvage it. It's not terribly expensive, so this one wasn't a big investment. The other one you'll recognize, and this one's still in the fridge. The other one you'll recognize from earlier this week. I put it in a bag. This guy, I didn't throw him away. He's still rock hard. I'm going to salvage this thing. This boy was expensive. Too expensive to throw away. So that's the one that we're really going to try to salvage. I have a skeleton of an idea here, but I don't have the details filled in, so we're going to be winging it as we go. Let me pop up my face. It's my face. Howdy do. Put that thing away. I should probably put that like there, and then I can put something here that's more visually appealing than just a pink square. Welcome. I woke up. Okay, first of all, I woke up extremely early this morning, as in like 4 o'clock, because of the very loud snow plows that were scraping back and forth all night long. And I didn't look out the window, but I could hear that they were snow plows. When I looked out the window this morning, when I got out of bed for real at like 7. Still pretty early. Um, it was still actively snowing, and we had about 4 inches on the ground. Um, I regret not filling my bird feeders last night or yesterday. The birds were going crazy for the couple of inches I had left in the feeder. Um, so I went out this morning and filled them up, and then the birds never came back. I scared them all off, and they never came back. I hope they appreciate it. It's a wet, heavy slop, except it's not sloppy. It's like it's a winter wonderland. It looks like one of those first snow of the year snows. It's this heavy, gross, good snowman snow, except that it's going to melt today when it gets above freezing, and then it's supposed to get up to 50 tomorrow. This will be gone in a day. But right now it looks like winter came back. April Fool. Yeah. As for the project today, our fancy project, you've already correctly identified this fruit. This is a mango, but it's a different kind of mango. I rarely see these in the U.S. at all. I've seen these. I one time took a trip to Guatemala, and they had a mango very much like this. They have a whole variety of mango. If you're not aware, there's dozens, if not hundreds, of different varieties of mangoes. And here in the US, we just get the one for the most part, which is fine, but there's lots of different ones. This is one of the different ones, and I rarely see it. And it was not expensive. It was the same. Now, granted, this is smaller than the other ones, so you're getting less for your buck. But it was the same price as the regular one, so it's only, you know, well, I got the 2 of them for less than $1. Um, I think they're just very seasonal. They're much softer than the ones we're used to. This one was the riper one when I got it, and it has already started to go brown on the back side here. So we got to use this guy up before he goes completely off. I think we're going to lose part of this area here because it feels a little bit too soft. So these will be easy to, I could probably just skin them and eat them as is. They're perfectly edible. They're nice mangoes. Saizan, you are first. No one can ever take that away from you. At least not today. Except me, I could take that away from you. You'll recognize this thing. This is our second fruit. We're using up all the tropical fruits today. This is our the mame sapote from earlier in the week. That was so dry that I couldn't just eat it. It's supposed to be soft on the inside when it's cut. Moisten already. I can do that. Moist. So I've been thinking about this since not moist. I've been thinking about these things since I tried it out. It's very hard and starchy, kind of like a potato. So, what if I cook it like a potato? Because it has this wonderful flavor. Now, I stuck it in a bag and stuck it in the fridge to try to preserve it. I don't know how it's still very hard. So, and there's no discoloration that I can notice. So, I'm gonna forge ahead and say that it's fine. We're gonna take the peel off. We're gonna try to treat it like a potato. But that's the idea. I'm gonna see if I can treat it like a potato and get it cooked up, edible. Fruit the third. This beast. I had one of these once before, and if you'll remember, you might not remember, but if you'll remember, when I cut into it, it was simultaneously seemed like it was underripe and badly overripe. Like, it seemed like it was much too hard, but also was clearly starting to go bad with black streaks and stuff. This is an avocado. This is a different variety of avocado. I have done my research. The first time I grabbed this, I just was like, that's a big weird avocado. I'll go and see what it's like. I have since done my research on these things. It's called a Florida avocado. It was marketed during the low fat craze as the Slimcado because it is a low fat avocado, which is why it's not soft on the inside. And that's why I didn't understand what I was going into it. Is that it's never going to be soft on the inside like a Hass avocado. Exactly. Welcome in. Um, I've done my reading. For one thing, the skin never turns dark. It always stays green. If the skin turns dark, it's starting to rot. It never stops being green. You have to judge it by its squeeze test, which I think makes these things extra hard to identify when they're ripe. Um, but we're gonna see. After I threw the other one out because it was starting to seriously rot, um, I was thinking about if it hadn't gone bad yet, what I would do with it. I think you could probably cook these because it's much firmer. It's more money than a Hass avocado, but it's also quite a bit larger, so I think it evens out because it's still sold per each, not per pound. Um, so this is about, I don't know, 4 times the size of a typical Hass avocado. Um, Now it's got a big pit in there too, so that subtract that. But yeah, so it's not. It probably equals out to be a little bit more, but the fluctuations mean that it probably evens out. So we're going to see if I can't work with that. I think you could probably fry this the way it's sort of sturdy. And that's the plan. And because I've got now 3 things, they're all sort of tropical fruits. I kind of want to make like a full breakfast platter style thing, but with these weird tropical fruits. So like the full tropical breakfast, which means I've got some odds and ends. I didn't buy any additional stuff for this. I'm trying to use up my odds and ends as much as possible. Let's pop the gentleman up here. And I've got the same camera setting I had last time, except it looks different this time. And I don't know why. It's very glary over here, and my hand isn't as red, so I'm not sure what is different. Something's different, but I'm not sure what. But let's get rolling on something. I want to get the skins off of. Let's use a peeler. Get the skins off of these things and really take a look at them. Where's my peeler? And since we're treating it like a potato, that little stemmy thing off. I would love to find or to go back and check out this thing properly ripened because the flavor is just so interesting. And I'm just disappointed by the texture of this. It's also got no sweetness to it. It's very starchy, despite having this tropical flavor. It's really this sort of conflicting thing. Skin comes off pretty easily. It'd be really easy to peel if I hadn't already cut it in half. Okay, so the cut surface has definitely gone a little bit paler than the fresh surface. I'm just going to cut that little nub out the end. It looks a lot, I mentioned this when I cut into it the first time, it looks a lot like a sweet potato. And it's also very hard and rather dry, like a sweet potato. Oh God, and that fresh surface has this just, God, I love that smell. It's the smell of almond liqueur. Well, if it's secretly a sweet potato, then I really want this to be the standard sweet potato, because it smells like a delightful almond liqueur. Mmm. And I can only imagine how nice this would be properly ripened. I'm going to take the little stem nub off. Yeah, the poor texture and lack of sweetness was very off-putting, but the flavor is so nice that I saved this thing to try to make it work, because dang, it's a heck of a thing. Also because it was about $9 for this fruit. It ain't cheap. There's more expensive fruits out there, but I don't have the budget for them just now. If I go back, I will definitely try to select one that appears more ripe, that has more give to it. Yeah. This got, it was selling for $6 a pound, and this one was about 1.5 pounds. Thankfully, the pit's pretty small, but this one was definitely on the small side. Most of them were about that big, or larger. They were pretty hefty fruits, and being sold by the pound, that adds up real quick. So I didn't want to get a giant one in case I didn't like them, but I love the flavor so much that I'm going to keep them in mind. I've got to get a regular budget going for these things, for this type of stuff, for these ingredients, because that's how cooking shows afford this sort of nonsense. They write it off against the profits. That's why you can watch. I'm gonna make fancy Big Macs, and they spend $600 making a Big Mac, and it goes on the expenses. So if we're treating this like a potato, but it's a sweet flavor, that makes me want to make like a sweet hash brown out of it. So I'm going to grate it. Well, I'm going to grate a little bit of it and see how it looks before I commit. Uncle Stinky. What a delightful name. And hi from Seattle. Welcome in from Seattle. Do you know anything about weird tropical fruits? Because today we have weird tropical fruit. I think this is working. But welcome in, welcome in. I see you're new here. Oh, and somebody followed. Thank you for the follow, mysterious follower. Oh, this thing is a little bit hard to grate. How's Seattle? I'm in Wisconsin, and in my neck of the woods, we had a blizzard this morning. But now it's bright blue skies. Well, I also have no knowledge about these weird tropical fruits, and this one is very, very underripe. I don't think this is a recipe that we're going to be able to recreate because I can't, in good conscience, tell people to go find a very underripe, rare tropical fruit. Isosceles is here too. I could tell people to go find a very underripe, rare tropical fruit. Wow, when you grate it, it makes a lot more. Damn. I don't think I'm going to grate the rest of it. Isosceles is trapped under the snow. I don't know where Isosceles is, but the snow was pretty extensive across the middle of North America, so I'm not surprised. I think we're going to be able to make 2 happy hash browns out of that. And still have more left over so I can try to play with it. I don't know how much longer it's going to keep. Yeah, I went out and filled the bird feeders this morning because I didn't do it yesterday because it was so sloppy and brown. I was like, whatever. And then I woke up to 4 inches of snow and the birds clamoring for the scraps that were left in the bottom of the feeder. I was like, okay, put on my boots and went out and filled them up. And then the birds all flew away and didn't come back. I spooked them. Let's get out a bowl. A couple of chickadees came back afterwards, but yeah, I spooked the finches and the cardinals away. They were having none of me being there. Okay, unlike with a potato, I don't feel like I have to squeeze any extra moisture out of this because it is already super weirdly dry. We don't have any wind. We had some wind yesterday, and just brown slop, rain snow mix all day. But then after the sun went down, I guess it decided to turn to full on snow and build up on itself. I need a bigger bowl for what I'm planning on doing to this. Um, one size up from there. There we go. Sous vide some chicken thighs in a teriyaki marinade. And you're gonna broil them today. That sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. Uh, let's see. We could do that. Gonna get the coconut out. I have some desiccated coconut that I picked up for a different recipe, and still have a little bit of it hanging around. I've got powdered sugar and regular sugar. This this is supposed to be a sweet fruit, but it's so underripe that it's just starchy. So I'm thinking I want to add sugar to this. Let's actually taste a strand of this. Nope, ad is coming up real quick. Oh, the flavor is so nice, but the texture is so terrible. Oh, but the flavor is so nice. Let me tell you about the flavor of this thing. For those of you who've come in late, it's this. I've already peeled it, so you can't really tell what it looks like. It's this fruit. It's called a meme sapote, which I will spell in chat. Not to be confused with the white sapote, the black sapote, or the yellow sapote, which are three unrelated fruits that are also unrelated to each other, because sapote comes from the Nahuatl language and just means fruit, I think. So a bunch of fruits in the region got named something sapote. Oh, there's an ad coming. I hope nobody missed that. Let me know when you get back if you missed that. So this needs, I think it needs a binder because this isn't going to be starchy enough to stick to itself. And I think it needs, throw an egg in there. Let's throw an egg in there and see what it looks like. I don't want to go too crazy while people are away on the ad. Use this one. If you want a weird fruit, if you want to see a really weird fruit, look up the black sapote. That one is supposed to be hard to deal with and also looks like it's a bag of tar. They didn't have that one at my store. Welcome back from the ad, people who were on the ad. I hope you didn't miss my spiel about sapote. I'm beating an egg here to serve as a binder and some liquid, because this is both very dry and is it? I didn't look up nutrition facts. I was just reading about how to cook it, and that's when I learned that this one is incredibly underripe. But good to know. So we're throwing an egg in here to serve as some binder. We're going to get out a scraper and not waste any of that. Um, it's if you live where they're easily accessible, then sure. But where I live, it's a bit of a seasonal exotic, which, although nice if you can find it, I wouldn't say is a go-to option. Which is the case with a lot of tropical fruits. Many of them just don't ship very well. They're very delicate. Um, which might be why this one was sent to my neck of the woods in such an underripe state, so that it was more sturdy and could handle the shipping process. I'm going to add a little scoop of tapioca. We have tapioca flour, also known as tapioca starch, also known as tapioca. Because potatoes would have free starches, which helps the hash brown bind together. This stuff I don't think has that. I'm just getting the feeling from handling it. Yeah, I would like to someday find a right version of this thing because the flavor is pretty much custom made for me. It's such a nice flavor. I'm also going to add some sugar, and I've decided to add regular sugar, not the powdered sugar, which we're just going to give about that much. I'm not bothering to take good measurements here because there's no way I'm going to be able to write this down on account of the ridiculously underripened fruit that it is based on. Should we add the coconut? No. It might end up on the plate somewhere, but it's not ending up in this. I want the flavor of this to shine on its own. Okay. Get this well stirred around. So far, we've stuck to all tropicals. I think. Is tapioca tropical? Sugarcane is tropical, and chicken eggs are tropical. Wild chickens are from a very, very tropical area. Um, Mountain is tropical. India. Okay. Egg. Egg might not be a fruit, but it is tropical. But I have no idea about. It can be fried like bacon. This fruit? Huh. Well, I've got some here. Does it say I can use underripe ones? I'm gonna let this sit aside. See, tapioca is also tropical. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna let that rest. I don't know what resting is gonna do for it, but we're gonna let it rest. And I'm going to break into this beastie next. Jen! Morning! Um, Well, this is not bitter. It's just profoundly potato textured. Um, oops. Huh. Well, that was unexpected. My knife went right through the pit. Huh. Huh. Uh, I don't know about that. There's the pit. I guess I'll just tip it out. I can already tell you that this is a much nicer texture than the last time I got one of these, and it was simultaneously rock hard and weirdly rotten. Um, this one is like soft and creamy on the inside, like an avocado. It actually might. It's soft enough to scoop with a spoon, and it tastes a lot like an avocado. Oh, you're right. That's exactly what it was. Because that's what this is. This little channel. Yes, you're exactly right. The pit was split. The pit was pre-split. Here's the pit. There's the shoot and the root. It was trying to sprout. And I just, by happenstance, cut it in exactly where the split of the pit was naturally forming. I kind of want to save it and see if I can't plant it. Doesn't it take like years for an avocado plant to bear fruit? And also, I live in the frozen north where avocados absolutely cannot live. I'm gonna save it. I don't. Planting it seems, unless I want a decorative tree, planting it seems fruitless. Haha, fun. Ha! Well, I guess I'm gonna hang on to it. Fascinating. Also, this one is perfectly ripened. The last time I got one of these, it was a disaster. Okay, well, I've plunked it down next to my other plants. We'll see what it do if I give it a little bit of care and attention. That was a complete surprise. Um, 2 years is never more than a sprout. My understanding of avocado is that they are slow growers. Um, but this guy seems very usably ripe. He's going to go brown now that I've cut him. I was expecting it to be a little bit firmer on the inside because of the last one, but I think the last one I picked may also have been simply wildly underripe. Since this is pretty creamy on the inside, I now regret. First of all, I know exactly what to look for ripe ones because it still has a clean green skin, but it had sort of a gentle give when I squeezed it. Knowing that now, I will keep an eye out for that specific condition in the future. So let's wrap. I'm going to plastic wrap them up now. Okay. Okay. That changes my plans a little bit, because I was thinking I would have to cook this. But we might be able to just slice it and have it on the plate as... So in your breakfast platter, this is going to be your starchy element. And this is a fatty thing. So this is taking the space of an egg, maybe? Weird. Weird. Let's wipe down the knife. And break into this one, the definitely overripe mango. And be gentle because I'm afraid it might squirt at me. It's hard to cut when it's this overripe. So set these guys aside to think about them for a minute. Yeah, these I rarely see them, and I gave them a shot, and I bought it a little bit ago, so this one has gone over for sure. Ooh. Ugh. Okay. I'm not even going to go any further into this one. It's not good. Fortunately, I have two. Hopefully this one is good. I haven't gotten this type of mango since I was in the tropics where they're from. This, it's green, but it's pretty soft. Whereas this one, and I've had them the same amount of time. This one is so overripe. Here, I'll show you. It's starting to rot around the edge there. Probably got some salvageable bits, but it's not looking great. And I don't really want to fight with it too much, so I think this one might be a loss. Fortunately, like I said, they weren't very costly, but I regret now not getting to this one sooner. Because it doesn't look good to me. It looks real gnarly. It's probably a little bit of a salvageable bit. Yeah. This type of mango, to my knowledge, doesn't... Okay, some bits of this are salvageable. Does not ship well. And has a much shorter shelf life. The one we get more commonly specifically has a longer shelf life. Bird food? No. It's going in the compost. So, bit of a loss on that one. But again, the pair of them was less than $1. So I am not super broken up. This one is still green on the outside, but it's quite soft. So I'm willing to call that one ripe enough to use. There was one I found. I didn't find it. The professor leading the trip found it when I was in the tropics. That was so soft when ripe that the way to eat it was literally to just nip the end off and squeeze it out like a toothpaste. It was delicious, but I can 100% understand why that one never gets shipped because when it's that soft, it's not going to survive. It's not going to survive at all. I'm sure because we got it. It was at a local farmer's market, and it was. I'm sure it was growing just in the hills around the farmer's market. The Galapagos. Guavas. Let's get that little patch out of there. Okay. So yeah, this one's definitely less ripe than that one. The color is plain, but it's still nice and soft. I can leave dents with it in my finger with it. It's tart. Tastes a little bit less ripe. It tastes a little bit more tart. Let's get it out of its skin. Guava. Um, they have guavas at it's actually the same store where I got these mangoes and the avocados and the sapote. Um, our local Woodman's. They have a bunch of weird seasonal fruits. That's where I got the breadfruit that I loved so much, which apparently is out of season because they haven't had it for a while. Which is why we haven't been playing with breadfruit because I would never stop. Um, but yeah, they have guavas there. They have lots of things there. They have things that I've never heard of that I want to try, like the sapote. And oh, they had, and I didn't grab one because they were really rather expensive. They were $12 a pound. They were so expensive, as expensive as like good meat. Um, they had chermoyas, and I really wanted to try one. But at that price, I was put off by the price. Also because they didn't seem very ripe. I've heard of chermoya, and ugh. Biscuits used to make guava gummy bear. Guava gummy bear. I'm not a big fan of gummy bears, but that might convince me. Mm. Okay, that green one is very sharp. Got a piece of skin in my mouth, licking the old fingers. Let's get out a bowl. Okay, that greener one was a very sharp sourness to it. texture is ripe. So it potentially could be a different variety that's been mixed in. I know there are, as I've mentioned, many varieties of mango. But it could also just have actually been a bit under ripe, despite the texture being good. It may have simply been picked early. And thus would never fully ripen. Oh, I've learned something recently about the way fruits behave depending on what animal the fruit is intending, the plant is intending the fruit for. So for fruits that want birds to eat them, birds have a, fruit-eating birds especially, not counting the vultures, birds have a pretty terrible to non-existent sense of smell, but excellent color vision. So fruits for birds are brightly colored with very little aroma when ripe. Mammals, on the other hand, with the exception of primates, tend to have very poor color vision, but an excellent sense of smell. So fruits intended for mammals have drab outsides, greens, browns, often they don't look any different ripe from when they are underripe, but they have a strong aroma to attract mammals. It's a fun thing to pay attention to. If your fruits live in places with lots of monkeys and they don't want the monkeys getting at them, they'll drop off the trees before they ripen and then ripen on the ground, because the monkeys don't want to come down to the ground unless they have to, because there's more predators down there. It's all interesting. It's very interesting to me. If you want a very large animal to eat your fruit, you make it just a little bit poisonous, so that if a small animal eats it, they get poisoned. But if a big animal eats it, the amount of poison isn't enough to harm them, so then they'll eat it. There's a wild gourd. Sorry, I'm mixing in some coconut. Because I felt like that would be a good idea. There's a wild gourd in the US. We call it the buffalo gourd. Buffaloes don't eat it. The thing that's supposed to eat it is extinct. It was eaten by mastodons, who are large enough to be unaffected by the relatively... It's pretty poisonous to small animals. It's very bitter. Medium-sized animals can eat a little bit of it, but if they eat a lot, they will get very sick. And even pretty large animals like bison and cattle can only handle a little bit. In the case of dairy cattle, it makes their milk taste bad. It makes their milk taste very bitter. Fun stuff. These are called evolutionary anachronisms. It's already got some sour in it. I just added some sugar. I think I'm going to go with a little bit of cayenne pepper and go for a chili mango type of thing. I would add some lemon or lime juice to this, but the one avocado was so tart to begin with that I don't think I need to. But I would like to break it up with something because it's just kind of yellow right now. I don't really have another thing for it. It's not just more yellow or more tart. I love fun facts like that. Sorry if I rambled a bit, but I love fun facts like that. There's a whole study into evolutionary anachronisms, physical traits that species have evolved to interact with another species that has since gone extinct. There's trees with thorns that go up like 11 feet high, even though there's no animals that can reach that high, to ward off like the ground sloths. Things like that. We have an ad rolling. I'm going to set this one aside as well and think about it. If we're making a breakfast plate, what typically goes on your full English breakfast? It's some kind of potato, bacon, sausage, black pudding, egg, tomatoes, mushrooms, toast. Coffee and tea. Look it up. Full English. Oh, I think I got some of that. Oh, excuse me. I think I got some of that chili pepper in my nose. Beans. Ooh, I don't have a good tropical substitute for a bean. Eggs can be themselves. I actually have some mushrooms that I've been meaning to use up, and mushrooms are a global thing, so we're going to use up some mushrooms. I should rinse them off. The avocado can do a stand-in for multiple elements here. I don't have any tropical... Oh, I definitely got something in my nose. I don't have any tropical meats, really. Or do I? Or do I? This might be the time to break out one of these. They'll need thawing, so I should get them going quick. These are tiger prawns that I picked up on a sale and froze. Pro tip. Oh. Shellfish. We're going to do those two. shellfish in the shell freeze really well. Jen, resubscribed for 7 entire months. Welcome back. Enjoy the emotes. And heckle me for not having more emotes ready because we have unlocked, in fact, more emote slots that I still haven't filled. I said I was going to have them done for today, and if I didn't, you could heckle me. Well, I don't have them done for today, so you can heckle me. We unlocked another animated emote slot. We unlocked another regular emote slot, and we finally, this took me forever, we finally unlocked follower emotes. So I have those as well, and I only have 2 ideas for them. So, and the higher tier emotes, but I never have any ideas for those. We're gonna thaw out those shrimp. What was I saying? Oh, shellfish in the shell. If you see them on sale, buy them and freeze them. The shells protect the meat from freezer burn. Not 100%, but much better than just being unshelled. If you can also vacuum seal them, that would be ideal. But yeah, shellfish shells. I need a taking notes emo. I'm trying to think about how to apply hands to my little face there because he's just the planet Jupiter who doesn't have hands. So I was thinking of being like the hands could be little moons, so like little gray balls with fingers, so that doesn't look like a little man so much. Let's get these mushrooms out of this bag and rinse them because they're a little bit gross. But yeah, taking notes would be great. I use taking notes emotes all the time, and I also tell people stuff all the time. So I think it would be a good mix. I'm thinking of moving the yum face to a follower spot because it doesn't come up a lot on other people's channels that I watch, at least. Because ironically, I don't watch a ton of other cooking. I do sometimes, but I watch a lot more gaming than I watch cooking. Okay, the mushrooms are draining. Do we do beans? Do we do beans? Do we do beans? Let's get a pan out. We're actually going to start cooking. A little bit of a blowout in the light here. It doesn't adjust anymore. So yeah, I was supposed to be ready for today, and I did not. I did not finish my emotes for today. Gonna get out my large flat nonstick because I'm afraid of sticking. Heat on, and we're using. Well, that was my rice bowl. It just fell. We're going to butter. We're going to use butter for this. We're a good ways off from the next. I should do it. I should put up sub goals. We for my birthday we killed it and we unlocked the next level of emotes, but not quite the 3rd level of emotes. And now it's been a while, so all that birthday hype has worn off. I feel awkward putting up goals at this point. since I should be instead focusing on the quality of the channel and attracting people that way. We're going to do the hash brown. Oh, I wish I had a lime. I would add lime zest to this chili mango thing, but I don't have a lime. I have lime juice, but not a whole lime. Little awkward. But yeah, we've been at this an hour. I've been mostly chit-chatting and cutting fruit and looking at them. We actually need to get to the cooking part of this ostensible cooking stream. I'm going to get out another pan right away because we can start the mushrooms as well, which are also going to be in butter. The other one I want to do, the other emote I want to do is a lurk with just the top, just like the push the face all the way to the very top edge and just have it barely peeking over. Food is a luxury. Okay, so the hash browns are going to be in this pan. And we're going to do the mushrooms and then the shrimp in this pan. I don't have a beans substitute. I guess I don't need a beans substitute. We're gonna have some bread. I've got some bread. Bread is not tropical, and I don't have any breadfruit because it's out of season, unfortunately. Otherwise, that would be the perfect stand-in. Oop. Okay, so the hash browns, in the past I've made them much too large. So we're going to try making them smaller this time. Bean salad. You know, I have some chickpeas, garbanzo beans. They're a more tropically. They're not. They're not strictly tropical, but when you think of them, you think of the more warmer climate areas, like the Middle East and India and like that. Okay. The upper one is near the bean salad. We've got a little bit of time to think about that, so that's a good idea. I'm going to throw some garlic in our top butter. Get out my rolling tube. If you haven't seen the rolling tube, oop, that one is bubbling away like crazy. In fact, hold on. We're gonna pause the rolling tube because I really need to get the mushrooms in that pan now because the butter is already going nuts. So um, it is very difficult to overcook mushrooms. Um, they just tend to they don't get to that stage of being like leathery. They just kind of keep gradually shrinking. So it's often a better idea when you're working with them, if you're not sure, to toss them in early because they'll be fine. Getting a little crisp on them is often slightly challenging because they do tend to express a lot of moisture instead of crisping up. I don't think our heat over here is high enough for that. We're going to salt them, and then we're going to come back. Oops, over here. I just did a tossy toss. I'll do it again after I salt them. We're going to salt them to help them dry out a little bit faster and to give them some flavor. I like this pan because you can do a nice little tossy toss. Okay, let's get back to the tube. This thing, garlic tube. You take a garlic, you put it in the garlic tube, you roll the garlic tube, and you end up with a perfectly peeled clove of garlic. Oop. If your garlic is a little on the flat side, it sometimes slides instead of rolling. There we go. Oh, no, that one has even another layer on it. Okay. Ah, that's why there was a little mini clove trapped in the nook of that big clove. That'll be why it was hard to peel. And that's how the garlic tube works. If you don't have one, I pity you. And we're going to slice these up rather than mincing them today. Although I should probably give them a little crush. We're just going to use my hand for it. And the big knife. Where's the big knife? And we need to go check on our hash browns real quick. The sugar is going to put them at risk of burning more than a normal hash brown would. But I have no idea how to check the doneness of the fruity thing. But I said change cameras. There we go. But we want the garlic in with the mushrooms post haste. I worry we may have already gone a little bit over on these guys. So let's get them. Oh, that's not too bad. They are sticking together very nicely. Hopefully, they are also softening up. Okay, so those are looking good, nice and brown. I'm sure the sugar that's in there is helping that a lot, and also the egg. What was on you? Oh, that stuff. That'll be fine. We'll toss our garlicky mushrooms around. Okay. Do I actually have? I said I had chickpeas. Do I have canned chickpeas? I might only have dry ones right now. Ooh, I think they've only got dry ones right now, which means I will. Oh no, there's a can. Okay. Okay. Okay, I have canned garbanzo beans, which are chickpeas. Let's ask El Goog, for a chickpea salad. What goes into that? Avocado, bell pepper, don't have any cucumber. But I've got the rest of this. With avocado already on hand. Let's see how these guys are. Yeah, okay. They're definitely going to be nicer on this side than the other side, but we will give them their time. Okay. We're going to go with Jen's idea of the bean salad using chickpeas. And that's going to stand in for our beans on our plate. Because I don't have all the ingredients from this specific recipe, but it's more of a general idea. Our fancy cutter cuts fancily. We have time to think about it too, because the shrimps are not quite thawed because they are very large. Tiger prawns are they're not listed as tiger prawns. They were listed as colossal shrimp, which is like, come on guys, come up with a better name for them. But I'm reasonably certain that they are tiger prawns, which are a very large species of shrimp that has been unfortunately farmed in the Gulf of Mexico, but is not native there, and they escaped and they're becoming invasive. So eat them aggressively. Hooray, invasive species. Oh, I've got a strainer out already. We'll give it a quick rinse shot. And drain off our... Ooh, do I want to save this stuff? Ooh. Yes, I want to save this stuff. It's going to be a little bit awkward, but I'm going to do it. We're going to save the aquafaba. Oh, weird. It smells fine, but it's... Well, that's why they use chickpea as the primary aquafaba. It was, I guess this is a little bit of an older can. It was so thick that it had started to gel. Let's push around our mushrooms one more time real quick. Ooh, yeah, they're getting some really nice color on the sides. Let's take a peek at our hash browns. They are getting a little bit too much color on the bottom. So we're going to turn them off and transfer them away from the heat. We're actually going to switch this to the front and then transfer them away from the heat. Because this is the main event now. I need a bowl to concoct my salad in. Put that away. So if you're not aware, and people are probably not fully aware of this yet, the liquid that comes in canned beans has a great deal of dissolved protein from the beans. Different varieties of beans have different amounts. It makes it a substitute, a functional substitute for egg white in lots of applications. Not every application, but lots of applications. You can whip it, for example, into a meringue. Not doing that today. Chickpea is supposed to be the best one. I've tried it with black beans and it didn't work. Chickpea is supposed to be the best one and the easiest one to do whatever you're doing with it. Okay, temperature down on the pan because those mushrooms are getting a really beautiful color and I don't want to burn them. I also suggest don't whipping it by hand. It's harder to whip than egg whites. It will whip up, but it takes more effort, so I would say don't use a whisk on it. Whipping egg whites with a whisk up into a meringue is already difficult, and doing it with bean liquid is slightly harder. So, yeah, use a machine. Use a machine for doing it with eggs as well, but especially use a machine for doing it with aquafaba. But it is an excellent trick for getting putting. I'm adding some more butter to that pan. It's an excellent trick for getting that egg property, the stabilizing properties of an egg and such, without actually having to use an egg for people who are either vegan or allergic to eggs for some reason. Whatever your reason for not eating eggs is. Okay, we're taking the shells off of our tiger prawns over here. They're not quite fully thawed. They still got a little hard nugget in the middle, but with the pan on slightly lower heat, we should be able to get them to cook through no difficulty. We always save our shellfish shells. You can't see any of this because I'm doing it over the sink because it's very drippy. But we always save our shellfish shells. But let's get those guys in the pan there. And to help them along, we're going to put a lid on it so that they can steam as well. to make sure that they get cooked through to the middle. Big prawns, yeah, they're colossal. Big prawns like this take longer to cook as well. So we've got a little bit of time. They come out if you've never had them, they come out very meaty when they're this big. The texture is almost like lobster. In fact, the texture is very much like lobster tail. It's got this heavy meatiness to it, but the taste is not lobster at all. The taste is just shrimp. So if you like the taste of shrimp and you want the sort of meaty texture of lobster, keep an eye out for these things because they're usually much cheaper than lobster as well. I got these on sale and froze them because I knew I would want them at some point. And they're despite being cheaper than lobster, they're still kind of pricey. Not that one, the other one. So we're going to, you don't need to see that thing with a lid over there, so we're going to pop over here. I've got one of my avocado halves, and I'm going to just cut right through it and see if I can get the skin off without damaging it too much. When I was reading about these, what they said is it's a much sturdier, and if you mash it, it tends to go watery. So it's not good for guacamole, but it's good for dicing or slicing. So this is actually perfect that I want to put it in a salad now. And this one released from its skin really easily as well. I think the first one I got was significantly underripe when I picked it up. And then because of that, I waited for it to soften up. And when I got to it, it was still rock hard, but had started to go bad. And that's why I couldn't get it to work. Now that I think I've got a handle on this variety of avocado, I will definitely keep an eye out and go back for them. It doesn't seem to be nearly as seasonal as some of the other tropical fruits. So this might be a good stand-in. I would not get this for guacamole, though. It has definitely got a firmness to it. Oh, sorry, I mispronounced it. Guacamole. Guacamole. I have a wrinkly... You're going to judge me for this. I have some bell pepper here. I do this with vegetables in the winter a lot. Because it's dry and cool. So they don't go bad. They just get kind of wrinkly. You don't like green bell pepper? I like green bell pepper. But yeah, I should have used this one up by now. It's half a pepper from a different thing that I just kind of left out. We're getting out of the season when this is feasible. Oop, 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 oop. We have a development on the stove front. Where's those chopsticks? The colossal prawns have colossal curled up on themselves. And I'm going to let them no longer steam. Moisten the pepper. I will moisten myself and the pepper. Mm, moist. They do look about done, but I want to get them on both sides. But yeah, we're taking the top off. The steaming definitely helped. They're probably done. The mushrooms are for sure done. I'm just going to give them the time it takes me to dice up some green pepper and throw it in my little bean salad here. See, once it's diced up, you can't even tell that it was all wrinkly. Probably don't even need that part, so I'll save it. You know, for later. No, it actually dries out. In the summer, it would go moldy. In the winter, when it's dry and cool, it just dries out. The cut surface just dries out. So you just can't. It's a very seasonal thing. Let's take the heat off on those. Should I make toast? I don't think I need toast. Yeah, if your house is super humid, then no. My house tends to get very dry. I've had cucumbers this winter where I've eaten half the cucumber and then not gotten to the rest of it, and I put it here on the counter, and the surface, the cut surface, dried out, and the rest of the cucumber stayed perfectly good. And that would never work in the summer. Lime juice. What else did they put in their chickpea salad? Tomato. Well, I did say tomato is one of those elements that's usually on the full English, and this would be a good way to incorporate it. So let's go for tomato. I don't need a ton. I've had good luck recently with these greenhouse tomatoes. So let's solid. But yeah, it's purely a winter trick for me. And honestly, I've never done it before this winter with cucumbers because I'm so used to them just going slimy immediately. Like my expectation buying a cucumber is usually that I will throw half of it away because it will have gone slimy. The heat's off on the mushrooms and the shrimp. It's sitting there on the pan, just getting its residuals on. But they are the heat's off on that pan. Oops. Keeping them in the refrigerator, they always seem to go slimy on me. Keeping them out on the countertop in the summer, they go slimy and moldy very quickly. Keeping them out on the counter in the winter, I've had good luck, but I've only ever tried it this year. So I suppose in a particularly wet winter, it might not work. We're getting out our herb that looks like cilantro. So that we can pretend. But yeah, they go real slimy real quick. I've also, even the English cucumbers, supposedly that the plastic wrap they put on them is supposed to help them keep a little better. But I find that they just end up going slimy underneath the plastic wrap before I can get to the whole thing. I like cucumbers, but I don't like them enough to usually plow through a whole one in one go. That's the issue. But for this winter, it's been great. I've been able to go through them in 2 or 3 tries instead of having to figure it out all in one day. Oh, oil and herbs. I'm not adding vinegar because I've added lime. Ooh, okay. That's a good shout. We don't have our gigantic, crazy monster shallot anymore, but I've got a small one. We'll add half a shallot to this for some crunch and some bite. And also to make me feel better, because this is, so far, there's no onion in anything here, which is so weird. Usually onion's the first thing I add to every thing I make. I've been told shallot is like a milder onion. You can choose to believe that, if you would like. If I'm going to call that a chickpea salad, it needs more chickpea. So we will take... You've not had the slimy cuke problem. Interesting. Interesting. Clearly, an outlier. We're going to chuck my shrimp shells back in the freezer. Here's the shells from our tiger prawns, and here's a bag with some lobster shells in it. Now here's a bag with some lobster shells and some tiger prawns in it. We actually have a full bag here of just standard small shrimp shells that it's already full, which means it's time to make shrimp stock out of it. I'm saving up the larger shells in a separate bag for a fancier version. Where's my scraper? I haven't settled on what I specifically want to do with them, so I haven't done anything with them. Let's wipe down the board one more time. But yeah, if for some reason any of you are not saving your shellfish shells? For shame. Slap them in a bag, slap them in the freezer. They are the basis of stock. And they're super easy to make into stock compared to like bones. They typically don't even take an hour of a simmering, as opposed to a bone stock that takes multiple hours. I'm going to use some of this avocado directly on the plate as is, since it's quite nice compared to how I was expecting it to be. It won't need a additional preparation. I like having some just there, and also I cut this thing. I'm surprised how far just half of that sapote went in terms of making the hash browns. We got 3 decent-sized hash browns out of half of it, which means I've got another half to play with down the line, along with half a tomato, half a shallot, about a fifth of a green pepper, and our half sapote. Lots of little halves of things for me to forget about. Doot, 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 doot. Yes. Okay. Plating time. Let me clear a little bit of room around the periphery real quick. Ooh, can you boil me some water real fast? We're gonna fill it right to the minimum fill line on my old kettle here and boil up some water real quick, because you need a hot drink with your full breakfast. Bread baking. Oh my goodness. I haven't made bread in a while. My house is rather chilly and a bit dry in the winter, which is great for things like keeping your cucumbers fresh on the counter, but is not so great for things like proving bread. I tend to get it kind of sad breads when I do them in the winter. So I kind of avoid bread that needs a proving time. I keep meaning to practice making proper bread, like Italian bread. Okay. Wow, the white of the plate really kind of merges into the white of the table, the countertop. Well, no, see, I'm using this. I'm doing what I did last time, where I've got the aperture locked. So the black sheet, all it would do is provide a backdrop. We could do that, but it's not going to adjust the camera at all. Hash browns made out of a tropical fruit. Let's put the tiger prawns on the far side from it. Oh, the scraper's there. I guess I need a new scraper. The mushroom is in this corner. With as much as our garlic butter scraped over the top of the prawns as we can get. Our water has boiled, which is good. I forgot I was going to try making a tea. We have green walnut, green, walnut tea. It's green tea with walnuts, not tea with green walnuts. In my little steeper thing here. And then you put the top on. And then you use the boiling water left over to rinse out your sink. Okay. We have a few more things to put on the plate here. Let's nudge that over a little bit. So my concept of the full breakfast, regardless of where you're from, what your regional full breakfast is that it's full. It fills the plate. As a key element. So we really want to load this beastie up. And since we went with a tropical theme, we've got a lot of colors that we normally don't get. Usually a full breakfast is very brown. This one's got a lot of colors. Yes, our full breakfast is definitely a full lunch in this case. But the full breakfast doesn't mean that you have to have it for breakfast. It's a dish. It's called a full breakfast. I'm going to top my. This is a cheater thing. This is balsamic reduction. Um, it is basically a lie because it's balsamic vinegar mixed with sugar um, to make it sort of thick and syrupy. I'm putting it on my avocado. Yeah, I'm excited to give all these various things a taste, especially the most interesting one there. Um, but all of them, all of these bits and pieces are good. We'll put the tea away. I'm just waiting for the tea to steep. And it doesn't take very long, honestly. It's a 3-minute tea, so it's probably already done. This, did you miss the beginning? This is the weird fruit from Tuesday. This is a meme sapote. Um, it's the one I got was ridiculously underripe. It was very hard and very starchy, but it has such a beautiful flavor. It tastes like sweet almond and vanilla, and like it has this almost dairy-like custardy finish to it. Um, and I was super sad that it was so underripe because I loved the flavor, but the texture was just like biting into a raw potato. Um, yeah, it is. It is sapote. Um, so this one, and here's the other half of it. I graded up half of what I had there. Here's the other half of it. Um, and because it was so hard like a potato, I treated it like a potato, and I made a hash brown out of it. But because it's this sweet tropical flavor, I added sugar to it. Um, I have not tasted it yet, so we're going to find out together if that worked to soften it up. Let me go take some pictures. I love this plate. Such a nice plate we've got going on here. Oop, my photo station is a mess. My photo station is a disaster. Supposedly, when they're ripe, they're delightful. I'm going to add my cup of tea to the photo, and then we will be right back. Oh, I'm going to add the tiniest dash of it's supposed to be the tiniest dash, and it ended up being a little bit more than the tiniest dash. Tiniest dash of cream to go with the British theme here. So yeah, I'm very excited to taste all of this. I mean, some of the things I know are going to be tasty, like shrimp fried in garlic butter and mushrooms fried in garlic butter. There's no way that those have been messed up. There's no way that those are not great. But other things, I'm not so sure about. I'm not so certain. Oh, I really got to zoom back to encompass the whole dish here. I made too too much of a good thing. Okay. Returning with the foods for the tastings. You just finished your brunch. What are you having for brunch? I always love to hear about other people's food adventures as well. Oh, I still haven't made my Discord public. Sausage and hash browns fried together with chipotle hot sauce. That sounds good. Okay, we are here to try out. We are going to need a knife for this. We're here to try out this. I want to try these guys first. If they've cooled off to the point, I'm just going to break it off. Hmm. 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 The texture is very much like if I did this with sweet potato. So it's not. It's softened up. It's definitely softened up. We've accomplished that. We lost that bright, upfront, sweet almond flavor. It still has the lovely vanilla and creamy elements to it. But cooking it, we lost that bright, almondy start. It's just faintly sweet, which is good because I wasn't going for it to be like super sugary. This is definitely a way to use it up to accomplish making it edible. But I'm a little bit sad that we lost that bright almondy upfront flavor. As a hash brown, the flavor is wildly off for a potato hash brown. The texture is works though. As long as you don't mind your hash brown to be a little bit on the chewy side. The texture is very much like a sweet potato hash brown with nice crispy edges. I like it, but not as much as I thought I was going to, because sweet almond is, I just love the flavor of sweet almond. So a little sad that we lost that. Mm-hmm. Definitely interesting here. What should we try next? Our chili coconut mango. Mmm. Okay. Sweet, sharp, and it's got a lovely, very, because it hasn't been cooked out at all, very pointed spice that hits your tongue. Tastes a lot like mango, which makes sense because there's not much else in there. The coconut is providing a little bit of texture and a little bit of coconut flavor, but mango front and center. Um, that's decent. I think it would be great with some lime zest. We don't have any lime zest, so oh well. One of those mangoes was really tart, so we've got the tartness of if I had added citrus juice to it already. So I don't need that. If you had only sweet mangoes, I would add a. Oh my goodness! Bookwoman has just dropped 5 subs on us out of nowhere. Thank you so much. Dread. Dread is here. Dread just got gifted a sub out of nowhere. Thank you so much for gift subs to Ryuya, Dread, Drakino, Miss Sepsi, and Lone Barca. Lone Barca? Wow. That was a surprise. Out of nowhere. Thank you so much. I don't have an audio alert for that. I just have to say it myself. Subs. I should make all my audio alerts just me doing noises with my mouth. Apparently Dread was lurking and got dragged out by gift subs. Golly. Exciting. And Dread didn't lick me. I'm gonna lick you. I'm gonna lick you, Dread. Where was I? I just tasted 2 of the things. We're going around the plate and doing all these tasties. Well, that's exciting. Good twist. Fun start to April. Gosh, I probably should put up a sub goal then if we're because that gets us decently on point for a actually maybe hitting the next threshold. I should publicize it so that we can all see it. Thank you so much. Happy spring. Happy April Fools. Let's see if this snow is melting yet. Yeah, it's starting to melt. Down to about 3 inches. Taste these before they get cold. We're gonna go in on one of these big shrimps. You do need a knife to get into these, in my experience. Mmm. Mmm. They have a very firm, meaty texture, as I was saying earlier. Mmm. If you like the taste of shrimp and you want something with more substance, watch out for these things. They would be great on a surf and turf, or, fun twist, a surf and surf. They can stand in for the turf side because they're dense and meaty. Then you can have a more delicate fish with them and have a surf and surf with the same sort of two-handed quality. Miss Sepsi, welcome in. We're just on the tasting phase. We're working our way around. These are mushrooms fried in garlic butter, so you know what they're going to taste like. And they taste exactly like you think they taste. Absolutely delicious. Mushrooms fried in garlic butter. How could they possibly go wrong? Mm-hmm. I fully understand why the full English breakfast has fried mushrooms on it. It's so good. But yeah, welcome in. Anyone who just came in, perhaps on account of the gift sub bomb, or just because you've wandered in. We are currently in the tasting phase of this, which I'm going to be calling a tropical full English, which we've put together because I had 3 tropical fruits that I was trying to use up that I wasn't sure what to do with. let's taste this guy in the middle next. This is our chickpea salad, um, as suggested by Jen. Mmm, 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 mmm. Ooh, that's nice. You know, I said I wasn't going to add any vinegar because there was already lime juice in it. It needs some vinegar. Just a little sprinkle. I don't have any balsamic that's just straight balsamic. I have gone with seasoned rice vinegar. But yes, a sprinkle of balsamic would be good on it as well. I should probably get a bottle of balsamic. I can't have every ingredient at all times. It's impossible. That's a tasty combo, though. What do you mean, how do you glaze your onions? Who glazes onions? Let's dig into our avocado with balsamic glaze now. I'm glad this one came out ripe and I could just use it as a plate element. If you missed it earlier, giant avocado, bright green on the outside. This one ended up being ripe on the inside. I find them hard to tell when they're ripe. The last time I got one of these, I thought that it was going to turn brown or like purplish brown like the small ones do on the outside, and I waited for it to do that. And when I cut into it, it was rotten. And then I went and read about it, and it turns out this kind of avocado is always bright green on the outside, and you can only check its ripeness by giving it the old squeezy squeeze. But they're gigantic. And yeah, our when we got into it, you can see the mark here on the other half that I haven't used yet. When I cut into it, we sheared right through the pit because the pit had already split itself and was trying to sprout. It was sending out a shoot. Um, so I went ahead and I stuck that pit in the front. I don't know that it's worth it to plant it. I'm not going to ever get any fruit out of it. It's just decorative. Yeah. Well, it was sending out both. It was sending out one in either direction. So one of them was a root and one of them was a shoot. Um, that's all the elements of the plate. I'm a little let down by this because we lost that bright almondy flavor. That I'm gonna have to experiment with these things more. I'm gonna have to experiment with these things more, but they ain't cheap, so probably not a lot, unless we get a sudden big surge of popularity in the channel, and I can afford to invest in. Oh God, I saw. All right, this is off topic. I was watching Emmy Makes, and she does fun, weird fruit things sometimes. She just did one where she got, I can't remember what it was called. It was called the smelly cucumber or something. It was like a 3 foot long hot dog colored cucumber. And I went and looked. She said where she got it. She got it from Miami Fruit. And I went and looked it up just to see how much it was. It was $100. It was $100 for one. It was crazy. I have no idea where the thing is from. Now she's a big successful YouTube channel. She's got the income where she can write that off as a expense for the channel. I can't imagine buying one of those until you're at that level. This thing was $9, and I was like, that's kind of pricey. I've tasted all the things. I've talked about them. This is a heck of a filling thing. Aside from the shrimp, this is also. Oh, sorry. There's an egg in the hash brown. I was about to say this is all vegan, aside from the shrimp, but it's not. Oh yeah, I fried everything in butter too. Never mind. I'm forgetting what I put in my own things. Aside from the shrimp, it's vegetarian with eggs and butter. You could substitute out the shrimp for something else too. It just needs some sort of a meatish component. You could do you could do fried tofu here. You could do a fried oh, that would be delicious. That would be tasty. Oh, I didn't talk about the tea either. Here's our green walnut tea. It tastes like green tea with a hint of nuttiness to it. Walnuts are one of my favorite nuts as well. Strange because I love that sweet almond flavor, but the nuts don't taste like that, so they're not my favorite. Um, so I liked it. I love the walnut flavor. Just a little hint, and the creaminess, the tiny splash of milk, really is just there to offset the fact that I oversteeped it a bit, and it was probably going to be a little bit bitter, which is what milk does in a drink like that, offsets the bitterness. Yeah. So we come to it. We come down to it. The appointed time has arrived, which is quarter after 12, where I move on to the wrap-up phase. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you, Bookwoman, for the 5 gifted subs. We had 3 tropical fruits. So we had mango. We had this thing, which is a meme sapote that was underripe, so I grated it like a potato, and then cooked it like a potato. This is a tropical fruit, and then the third tropical fruit was this giant avocado, which is a tropical variety of avocado. And I suppose technically there's coconut in there. That's a tropical fruit as well. Although I just bought bagged coconut for that. That wasn't something I bought specific. And then we kept with the tropical theme by using tiger prawn, and chickpeas aren't tropical either, but they make you think of like warm places, India, Arabia type things. So they kind of fit the theme as our bean subs stand in. And those 3 are our tropical fruits that I was trying to turn into something. I was outroing. Let's pop back to the outro. Yeah. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for showing up. This was it didn't go how I expected it. I'm going to say that. It didn't go how I expected it, but I like the results. Nothing's a failure. Everything's perfectly edible. I've still got half of this thing now to play with because we graded up half of it and it was enough for a full serving. I'm going to eat this before it goes completely stone cold. It's already honestly cooled off quite a bit just sitting here chit-chatting about it. Get my emotes done. That's right. I've got emote slots to fill up, and now we've got new subs, so now I've got even more incentive. Let's see who's on right now. Ooh. You know, I was watching an art stream this morning. I was watching Violet this morning. We've had fun with Violet multiple times. Um, oh my goodness, Ryuya, yes, there was a gift sum bomb that went off. You got caught in it. Welcome to the ranks of, I don't have a name for my community yet. The moons. The moons of Jupiter. Jupiter themed. I haven't thought it out. I need to be heckled about the emotes, or I won't ever just buckle down. It's not even that hard. Um, anyways, I was watching Violet this morning, and Violet just raided Shelly, who is also doing art. So we are going to also raid Shelly, who's doing art. I know Violet just raided because the still thumbnail is Shelly with her hands up to her mouth, and the Ink of Violet is raiding bubble popped up right next to her. So it just happened like a minute ago. So let's all go say hi to Shelly. She's doing art. Looks like she's doing a Bob Ross tutorial. So that's exciting. Everyone loves a little bit of Bob Ross. But yeah, so glad you guys had fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad that this all came together. So far, I've only had 2 fails. Fingers crossed. Pretty much tapped out of my weird tropical fruits. I'm gonna have to. We're not quite into the spring harvest yet, so we're still working on the dregs of winter. But need more fails. Fails make for good clips. Oh yeah, I never bring up clips. If you ever see me do something stupid, or fun, or whatever, clip it. No, I'll sort through them later. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for lurking. Thanks for all the things. See you next time. Pow. Let's